You clicked on this video because you smell opportunity. You're about to hop on or have already hopped on that Bitcoin wave. Or you're just doing your due diligence, and to that I say great job. Either way, in this video I'm going to be telling you first, what is Bitcoin? Second, 3 reasons why you shouldn't buy Bitcoin, because we're all about that healthy two-sided analysis. Third, 6 reasons why you should buy Bitcoin, like yours truly. And special note, yes, we are going to be talking about the halving or halvening of Bitcoin in this video. So grab a pen, paper, and a drink because you're so thirsty for knowledge, and let's do it. What's going on, everybody? My name is Matthew. Welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the future. After doing my due diligence into Bitcoin, even if it breaks my bank, I'll be forever amazed at how cleverly this cryptocurrency was designed and coded. Satoshi Nakamoto, you have my respect. And who is that? Well, it's covered in part 1, what is Bitcoin? Now, if you already know what Bitcoin is and you want to skip the first part of this video. If you want to skip the first part of this video about what Bitcoin is, listen to this guy. Skip to 4 minutes and 1 second into this video. And if not, then keep watching. Bitcoin is a decentralized worldwide digital currency and arguably the most popular cryptocurrency out there right now. Its creator is none other than Satoshi Nakamoto. Guys, why is there no picture in my hand right now? Oh right, because nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is, or even if it's a group of people. So we'll just move on. Let's break down what it means to be a decentralized worldwide digital currency by doing a little compare and contrast. Decentralized, meaning it's not controlled by any governing body, government, or singular group or person. The only person who has access to your Bitcoin is you. No bank or government can control your Bitcoin. This is revolutionary because it contrasts modern currency, which has almost always been under control by some governing body. It's truly power to the people. Worldwide means it has no borders. I can send my Bitcoin to someone across the world in a matter of a few minutes. Contrastly, the money we use today still needs to be converted between different currencies when traveling around the world. Bitcoin is digital. Just before we jump into this, I want to see if I can help us both out. Long story short, there's a link to Coinbase below in the description, a place where you can go and invest in Bitcoin. If you use that link and deposit at least $100, we both get $10 for free. That's all I'm going to say. Now, that means it lives online. It can be accessed from pretty much anywhere. And I guess this one's not too different from fiat money or regular currency because we have online banks and apps. But remember that with Bitcoin, there are no banks. And lastly, it's a currency because it can be used to buy and sell goods, just like regular money. And as of April 2019, almost exactly a year ago, there were already over 400 million transactions involving Bitcoin. Now, before we move on to the arguments for why you shouldn't buy Bitcoin, I wanted to address one of Bitcoin's most incredible features, Bitcoin and blockchain. Now, the concept of blockchain and how it's implemented with Bitcoin is an entire video of its own. But just know that blockchain is one of the main reasons why Bitcoin is incredibly secure. It involves a lot of computers and a lot of verification. People use their computers to add more blocks to the blockchain, helping verify Bitcoin transactions. As a reward for helping the blockchain, these guys receive newly minted Bitcoin. And these guys are the Bitcoin miners. They're coming up later in the video when we talk about the halvening. Or the halving if you're not as fun. Before we do that, let's talk about 3 reasons why not to buy Bitcoin. First, transaction time. If I'm at Jamba Juice Smoothie Shop, a very fine establishment, and I want to buy a smoothie with Bitcoin, it would take about 10 minutes before that transaction actually completes. By the time my payment is done, my smoothie will have become melted, liquidy terribleness. I didn't go to Jamba Juice for liquidy terribleness. I went there for their fine texture and flavor in my mouth. And it is for this reason that many people say Bitcoin does not have a role in mainstream commerce and does not have a future. But guess what, Bitcoin naysayers? The Bitcoin bulls have an answer to this. That's later in the video. For now, the second reason why not to buy Bitcoin. it is volatile as heck. Bitcoin is inherently volatile, and if you don't have the stomach for a roller coaster portfolio, it may not be for you. Many argue the price of Bitcoin is all speculation, and they may have a point to a certain degree. After all, what drives the price other than the supply and demand of this mystical cryptocurrency? In fact, even my dear idol, Big Warren B, once said, "It's a mirage. The idea it has some huge intrinsic value is just a joke. I don't own any, and I never will." If I could shed a Denzel tear right now, I would. Finally, the third reason why not to buy: long-term, things could get messy. Because it is a completely decentralized currency, the government has no control over it. And if people start using crypto more than they use, say, our regular money like the US dollar, who knows what chaos would ensue. If everyone stops using or reduces how much they use the US dollar, the government loses an absurd amount of control over our lives, and who thinks they're going to be happy about that? Not me. And lastly, say the economy moves to Bitcoin or crypto in general as the mainstream form of currency. Is Jamba Juice's menu just going to be constantly changing in price? You can see the chaos that Bitcoin may cause in the future, but let's just talk about that, the future. The future of Bitcoin in the eyes of a bullish investor, with the 6 reasons why I decided to invest in Bitcoin and why you should probably consider it too. Number 1, its deflationary nature. It's simple. There are only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist in this world. It's in the code and it cannot ever be changed. And what I'm about to explain is part of why I think Satoshi Nakamoto is truly incredible, aside from the fact that his name is just really fun to say. Correction, his, her, or their name is fun to say. Right now, about 18.4 million Bitcoin have been mined or put into circulation by the Bitcoin miners we talked about earlier. But unlike a normal currency, which often experiences inflation, Bitcoin has been programmed to experience deflation. Now I'll explain what this means to us as investors, why it might be a good thing, and we'll do it by comparing it to the US dollar. It's pretty much generally accepted by economists that a 2% annual inflation rate for the US dollar is a good target. This means that over the course of a year, your dollar has lost 2% of its purchasing power, or I guess value in simpler terms. What's 2% of 100,000? You're losing $2,000 in value every year, my friend. You're telling me I'm losing money every year because no fault of my own and I'm not doing anything? I'm not actually doing anything? Yes. But this is not an issue with Bitcoin, which will continually reduce its annual inflation rate until it hits 0. This is thanks to its finite amount that will ever be produced and something called the halving. Reason number 2 to buy Bitcoin: the halving or the halvening. This has been all the hype around Bitcoin lately because it only happens about once every 4 years or every 210,000 blocks added to the chain. The halvening means that right now there are about 1,800 new Bitcoin being mined and added to circulation every day. This will be cut in half to about 900 Bitcoin being added to circulation or available to be mined every day. In other words, the amount of new Bitcoin being added to the world every day is getting slashed in half. This will increase relative scarcity and decrease Bitcoin's annual inflation rate from 3.8% to 1.8%, which for the record, I believe is lower than the US dollar inflation rate right now. Now, all this hype is gathering around the halvening because a bunch of people are speculating a huge spike afterwards, because with less supply, there's higher demand, right? Wrong. Well, technically right, but here's why you might be wrong in this case. There are many signs that point towards a drop in the price of Bitcoin in the short term. Then there's also the highly probable case where nothing will happen at all, at least not for a few months. Let's be intellectual about this and look at the past 2 Bitcoin halvings. You can see the first halving happened on November 28th in 2012, and the months following were pretty stale, not much happening. There's a little run-up around March 2013, and then you don't see anything until November of the next year. It took a few months for an initial spike, and then almost 12 months for the big spike. The second halving in July 2016, again, nothing really happens to the price for a few months, maybe even half a year. and then it ramps up. We start to see something around May 2017. But again, guys, after the halving, nothing really happened, and the following spikes that were months down the road are not proven to be correlated to the halving itself either. Now, I'm not saying that nothing will happen with this next halving. Obviously, Bitcoin has a lot more publicity now, so a lot more retail investors like yourself and me may be buying into it. But the halving is one of my reasons to buy, not because I anticipate a big spike after the halving, but because in the long term, it causes deflation in Bitcoin, and I see that as very valuable. So that was the big thing everyone's been talking about, but I still have 4 other reasons why I am buying that I want to share with you guys. So number 3, vendors are accepting it. These are big vendors like KFC, Burger King, Microsoft. But if it takes 10 minutes to transfer my Bitcoin at Jamba Juice, again, I'm not waiting for that liquidity terribleness. To that argument, I have 4 words. Reason 4, Lightning Networks. Lightning networks have the capability to turn Bitcoin transactions from a slug to a Lambo. Bitcoin transactions only take so long because we're currently limited to about 7 transactions per second. With Lightning networks, we could see billions of transactions per second. To put that into perspective, the massive credit and debit card company Visa handles about 60,000 transactions per second. Now you're probably wondering, how does it work and when does it come out? How it works. In one sentence, it creates a bunch of IOUs for Bitcoin transactions rather than fully verifying them before they're approved. When will it be live? Lightning Labs released their beta product in 2018, but with so many potential security issues, especially with Bitcoin, which is meant to be extremely secure, it's not really clear when Lightning networks will be fully adopted or even if they will be. And remember, it's still unproven technology, but I wanted to put it in here because I think it has massive potential. Now, our second to last reason to invest in Bitcoin is accessibility. 2 major brokerages, E-Trade and Fidelity, will be rolling out cryptocurrency trading features. What does this mean for crypto? Ready for a digestible example? This is a chart showing the price of gold for the last 30 years. What led to this huge rise? Gold ETFs. Gold ETFs made it way easier and more accessible for regular people like ourselves to invest in the price of gold. Before gold ETFs, investing in gold was an incredibly complicated affair. Now, guess when the first gold ETF emerged? Let's take a look at the chart again. The first gold ETF emerged on March 28th, 2003. And after these gold ETFs appeared, gold went from around $300 to $350 to over $1,700 an ounce. And I'm fairly certain a lot of that is because gold went from hard to buy to easy to buy. E-Trade and Fidelity are bringing crypto to mainstream trading, making it easier and more accessible to millions of investors. Sound familiar? Lastly, my final reason to buy Bitcoin, it's either my best or my worst. The Bitcoin stock to flow model. This is basically a chart that tries to track and predict the price of Bitcoin based on many different factors. And if you track its history, it's actually been somewhat accurate. According to this chart, we could see new highs of over $10,000 in Bitcoin by June. And by the end of the year, we could see a rise to over $30,000 per Bitcoin. Their long-term projections show even wilder numbers going well over $100,000. So, I don't know. I'm yet to fully understand how that chart works, but it had pretty colors, so I put it on here. Actually, I just wanted to share this resource with you guys because I know a lot of big Bitcoin traders reference it. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what Bitcoin is and why you should or should not buy some for yourself. I've left a link in the description below to open a Coinbase account and hopefully get us both a free $10. Check that out if you'd like. If you don't, no hard feelings. You just won't get the free money. So some people say that you should keep 2% of your portfolio in cryptocurrency. Other people say less than 10%, and a lot of people, like dear Warren B, say you should disregard it completely. Let me know what you guys think about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Keep educating yourself like you're doing right now, and make sure, as always, you know what you're buying. And like every video, we're gonna end with the quote of the day. The future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. Now, the way I interpreted this one is that the future is here, but not everyone knows it yet. In other words, the knowledge that the future is already here is distributed unevenly to people because some people know it and some people don't. Hopefully, we're the ones to know first, and I also thought this related to a video about Bitcoin because, again, I genuinely think that Bitcoin might just be our future. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. It really means a lot to me and the YouTube algorithm. If you don't mind smashing that like button, hitting subscribe, and turning on all those notifications if you enjoyed this video. I love doing this research for you guys. It helps me learn too, and I hope I see you in the next one. Peace.